Well, talk of Russia sending troops has led to a sharp international response. President Obama said Moscow was breaching international law and could end up isolated. Canada joined in by condemning Putin's military intervention. Both of them, plus Britain and France, have decided to suspend preparations for the forthcoming G8 summit in Sochi. The EU's foreign policy chief weighed in, deploring Russia's potential use of force. And her British colleague says there's no excuse for outside military intervention. All this despite Moscow still not having decided whether to send troops. Gayane Chichyakyan has more on what was probably the strongest threat.
Secretary Kerry threatened to isolate Russia economically and politically. He threatened asset freezes and visa bans. He said Russia may not remain in the G8. There were threats and there was criticism. Take a listen.
It's really 19th century behavior in the 21st century, and there is no way to start with. You just don't invade another country on phony pretext in order to assert your interests.
Well, the interviewer never asked him, what about Iraq? What about constant threats to use force coming from Washington? Even though Secretary Kerry has not received those questions, they certainly crossed the minds of those who saw the interview.
Since when does the United States government genuinely subscribe and defend the concepts of sovereignty and territorial integrity? They're certainly not doing that at the moment in Syria, where they're backing militants who have taken over border crossings in the north and in the east of the country. They certainly didn't do that when they attacked Libya. They certainly didn't do that when they invaded Iraq. They certainly didn't do that when they attacked Serbia over Kosovo and then later on recognized Kosovo's unilateral declaration of independence. The United States government merely pays lip service to sovereignty and territorial integrity. It picks and chooses.
During the Sunday interview, Secretary Kerry was also asked about Israel, about Prime Minister Netanyahu's upcoming visit, about the peace process. Of course, on those issues, we heard a very different Secretary Kerry, careful, diplomatic, calling for negotiations, no appeals to the UN Charter, not a word about Israel breaking international law and the U.S. supporting it. So you get a sense that the U.S. is appealing to the UN Charter when it's in its interests.